Hi, Rene Munoz with the Law Office of Franco Munoz in Oakland, California, wanting to talk to you about something that I hear a lot, which is a real simple question of how much is my case worth? And the reality is that when you walk into the door, we don't know how much your case is worth. It could be worth $1.5 million, or it could be worth $10,000 or less. It really depends. And what we're going to be doing when we get your report or evaluate the value of your case is we want to see all of the factors. Remember, we're usually going after three types of benefits: temporary disability, permanent disability, and medical treatment. Those, for the most part, build up the bulk of the value of your workers' comp case. Sometimes clients talk to me and they say, well, what about my pain and suffering? Or what about my lost future earnings? Those are things that the workers' comp system doesn't take into account because of the laws that are within the state of California. We'll get into that more later, and if you want to talk about that, we'll discuss that as to why. But for the most part, just know that we're really talking about three types of benefits. Sometimes there's other benefits that we can talk about, but for the most part, those are some of the things that you want to know. So when we're looking at what the value of your workers' comp case is, the first thing I want to know is, did you get paid all your benefits? Did someone pay you your temporary disability or 2/3 of your average weekly wage? Sometimes insurance companies cut off your temporary disability because of some dispute where the employer said that they can accommodate your work restrictions when they really weren't. Sometimes they just cut them off for no reasons. Sometimes there's a valid reason and we have to figure out a way to get around that. So those are some of the discussions that you and I need to have when you have an attorney and you have that initial conversation. We want to know, did you get paid your temporary disability? Secondly, we want to know what the level of disability is going to be, because the permanent disability is determined by a QME report or an AME report that's going to determine the level of disability. Sometimes the report isn't a good report and we need to figure out ways to beef that report up. Sometimes we have a really great report and we need to shore it up to make sure that we get as much value as we can in terms of the permanent disability. Now, with that, sometimes we're looking at temporary disability, permanent disability, but we also want to know what the cost of your medical treatment is going to be. Okay? We want to know, what kind of medical treatment are you going to have? Are you surgical? Do you need home health care? Do you need a potential surgery down the road that might not actually happen today? Those are all things that you have to think about when we're talking about figuring out what the value of your case is going to be. Remember, this isn't a justice system. This is a benefit payer system. So we want to make sure that we maximize the value of your benefit. So when I'm looking at permanent disability, I want to make sure that all of the body parts that you injured were taken into account. Sometimes clients come to me and they talk to me about their neck, and then I start asking them and they mention that their shoulder hurts too. Then I ask them, well, why didn't you tell me about the neck? Why did you only tell me about the neck? And they'll say, well, I didn't think I could get additional disability for my shoulder. Or one shoulder hurts and then the other shoulder starts to hurt because of overcompensation. Those are all things that we need to talk about and address and explain to the QME or AME so that we can beef up the value of your workers' compensation claim. Again, I want to make sure that you get every cent that you're entitled to. And we have to also kind of consider how long it's going to get there. Sometimes it might not be worth doing additional work for an additional $200. Sometimes the wait is actually worth the amount of money that you're going to get. And those are all things that you want to discuss. Workers' compensation is supposed to be simple, but in California, it's anything but. It's really complicated and there's a lot of nuances. So if you want to talk to a lawyer, give us a call, 510-257-4141. We're Franco Munoz in Oakland, California. I'm Rene Munoz, looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks.